Welcome to NFL Focus, Niner Faithful. Something is shifting behind closed doors in Santa Clara right now, and it runs so much deeper than a simple roster adjustment or standard off-season rumor. The San Francisco 49ers are locked in one of the most volatile, high-stakes operational minefields of the entire Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch era. The front office is actively trying to defuse massive salary cap bombs, handle contract crises that could freeze this franchise for years, and navigate the most toxic, publicly fractured player-organization divorce this fan base has witnessed in decades. The most painful part of this reality? The biggest cloud hanging over the team, the grueling Brandon Aiyuk saga, still has absolutely no resolution in sight. It is not fading away. It is getting louder, heavier, and more bitter by the week. We need to look at the entire board because the full reality is far more complex and dangerous than any quick social media headline can convey. Let us begin with the urgent financial strain because two major names have surfaced as immense challenges for the roster blueprint, and neither situation offers an easy fix. The first is defensive end Bryce Huff. When San Francisco originally brought Huff in on a high-value agreement, the vision was undeniable. The front office believed they were securing the exact version of Bryce Huff who exploded for 10 sacks with the New York Jets in 2023. They expected the lethal, lightning-fast edge rusher who tore through offensive lines and stood out as a premier defensive prize on the open market. That was the game changer the 49ers paid for. The reality they actually received was completely different. Huff closed out the season with an incredibly disappointing 4 sacks. If that baseline number is not jarring enough, the actual timeline of those plays makes his season almost impossible to defend. Huff failed to record a single sack after Week 7. For the entire second half of the calendar, he was virtually invisible on the defensive front. The statistics look bad on paper, but the tape looked even worse. That brings us to a staggering dilemma. A player whose on-field impact completely fell off a cliff was carrying a massive $17 million cap projection. That is a massive financial burden for any organization in this league. For a 49ers front office that has committed historic capital to franchise quarterback Brock Purdy and desperately needs every single dollar working at maximum efficiency, having $17 million tied up in a defensive end who offered close to zero production down the stretch is a critical issue that requires a real answer. The organization does have structural paths available. A contract restructure is the traditional route to keep Huff in the building while generating immediate financial breathing room, turning base salary into signing bonus numbers to stretch the hit across future years. That choice provides temporary relief and matches the exact kind of aggressive accounting the 49ers typically use to protect their core roster. But the true danger of a restructure is that it merely delays the inevitable financial hit instead of actually fixing the problem. If Huff cannot rediscover the magic of his breakout season, you are simply pushing a massive financial anchor further down the road, making the problem even worse for the future. The alternative is executing a clean release or finding a trade partner, then pivoting that freed up space toward a more consistent, proven weapon on the edge. But the 49ers are starving for pass rushing depth. Finding elite edge defenders in the modern NFL is notoriously difficult and exceptionally expensive. There is no simple, clean escape from this corner, and the front office is fully aware of how tight the walls are closing in. Before we dive into the next complex piece of this roster puzzle, I want to pause for a quick second. We put an immense amount of hard work, sleepless nights, and pure dedication into producing deep dive documentaries like this to bring you the real stories behind your favorite teams. If you love what we do here at NFL Focus, please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button, smash the like sign, share this video with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Every single subscription acts as a massive burst of motivation for our team to keep digging deeper and delivering the content you deserve. Let us grow this incredible community together. Now, let us get back to the field. The second name causing serious frustration inside the facility is veteran receiver DeMarcus Robinson. And this situation brings a completely different flavor of disappointment. Robinson arrived in San Francisco after putting up career best marks with the rival Los Angeles Rams. He delivered meaningful yardage, 7 touchdowns, and provided exactly the type of proven, reliable safety net the 49ers desperately needed in their receiving room. Then came a season where a brutal wave of injuries opened up massive opportunities across the entire passing game. Instead of stepping into the spotlight, Robinson completely vanished from the game plan. He finished with just 276 receiving yards and a lone touchdown, landing way down at 7th on the team in total production. This happened in a year when targets were sitting right there, snaps were wide open, and there was every possible incentive for a veteran to step up and dominate. Delivering that kind of empty performance when you were brought in to provide veteran poise and stability is not just a letdown. He is continuing a relentless, highly calculated public campaign to bully the 49ers into granting his release so he can finally force his way over to the Washington Commanders, a destination he has been openly obsessed with for months. In a previous video post, he went as far as accusing the front office of making an incredibly foolish business decision, pointing directly to the massive $48 million the team paid out to him over the last 2 seasons before taking the ultimate step of wiping out his contract guarantees. He openly labeled the organization as little boys and claimed the front office is flat out terrified of what he will accomplish on the field when he is wearing another uniform. These messages are not accidental, and they are certainly not subtle. This is a player who has realized that his ultimate leverage in this fight is scorched earth public pressure and social media chaos. Let us strip away all the theatrical noise and examine the cold, hard facts of where this situation actually stands right now. The 49ers made the executive decision to void the remaining guaranteed money on Aiyuk's extension late last year after the receiver completely stopped communicating with team officials and flat out refused to participate in the organization's mandatory medical rehabilitation program following his severe knee injury. Structurally, he remains legally bound to San Francisco through the next several seasons under a massive 4-year, $120 million contract extension. The 49ers want to orchestrate a trade to ensure they get a premium package of assets back in return for losing a star player. Washington remains the most logical landing spot on the board, but the Commanders are completely refusing to offer a major trade package because their front office firmly believes the 49ers will eventually be forced to cut ties and release him for absolutely nothing. On the other side, San Francisco refuses to blink or grant a release because they are convinced the Commanders want him badly enough that they will eventually cave and offer a real trade choice as the regular season gets closer. It is a classic, agonizing standoff where both sides are staring each other down, waiting for the other to break under pressure. Meanwhile, the clock keeps ticking. Aiyuk has made it crystal clear to anyone listening that his singular goal is to reunite with his former college teammate Jaden Daniels out in Washington. The Pittsburgh Steelers were heavily linked to this entire mess at various points, but at the end of the day, Aiyuk holds an incredible amount of power in this chess match. Any team looking to trade for him would immediately need to rip up his current deal and construct a massive new contract extension, and Aiyuk can simply refuse to sign or negotiate with any franchise he does not want to play for. That exact contract leverage is both his greatest weapon and the single biggest reason a resolution is taking so long to materialize. The remaining numbers on his deal are massive. Any acquiring team would be staring at massive immediate financial commitments. including a projected $26 million cap hit for the upcoming season alone if structural bonuses are not completely overhauled during a trade renegotiation. When you combine that with the skyrocketing salary figures scheduled for the outer years of the contract, the sheer financial weight makes the rest of the league highly hesitant to give up premium draft picks when they can simply sit back, wait for an inevitable release, and sign him to a completely clean, low-risk, one-year prove-it deal later on. Early market projections estimate Aiyuk's current value in an open market scenario at around $12 million on a short-term contract, a stark drop that reflects the heavy league-wide concern surrounding his medical recovery from knee surgery and the immense baggage that comes with his chaotic exit from San Francisco. Head coach Kyle Shanahan finally addressed the media regarding this entire disaster, utilizing the exact kind of cold, calculated language that tells you the organization is trying to project total control, while implicitly acknowledging that the house is on fire. Shanahan stated flatly that the front office has to do what is strictly best for the organization, and that he has absolutely zero interest in helping out any other team in this league. That is a veteran head coach sending a clear message to his fan base that this front office will not be bullied or pressured into making a terrible, lopsided trade just because a player is posting aggressive videos on Instagram or trying to enforce a fake deadline that only exists in his own mind. But if you read between the lines, it is also an implicit admission that this relationship is racing toward an inevitable, permanent end. The 49ers are acting exactly like an organization that has stopped looking at a Brandon Aiyuk trade as a mere possibility and started accepting it as the definitive endgame, with an outright release becoming the most realistic outcome if no desperate team steps up with a real trade offer before the season begins. If that nightmare scenario actually happens, if a premium talent like Aiyuk walks out of that facility for absolutely nothing, it will go down as one of the most expensive, catastrophic asset management failures in the modern history of this franchise. The first ever regular season NFL game to take place on Australian soil. The 49ers are taking their brand global. That trip cannot become a circus or a distraction. It has to be treated as a golden opportunity for this team to put the entire football world on notice on the grandest international stage possible, setting a dominant tone for a season where the rest of the conference will be forced to chase them. But arriving at that monumental opening night in peak physical condition, with a completely united, distraction-free locker room, with cap space deployed masterfully, and without the suffocating weight of an endless off-field soap opera dragging down their preparation, requires getting this Aiyuk situation handled immediately. The longer this toxic standoff is allowed to bleed into the summer, the more mental energy and focus it steals from the active players, the coaching staff, and the front office personnel who should be investing 100% of their time into building a championship framework capable of winning ultimate games in January. The pressure inside that building is immense, and the standard of excellence has not dropped 1 millimeter. This is an elite organization that was just on the doorstep of a championship, and this fan base expects nothing less than a Lombardi trophy. Every single choice made between now and the first day of training camp carries massive consequences for the future of this team. Bryce Huff, Demarcus Robinson, Brandon Aiyuk, all three of these situations require definitive answers. If the historic track record of Lynch and Shanahan has taught us anything, it is that those answers will eventually arrive, no matter how chaotic and broken the process looks to the outside world. Before I hand the microphone over to you, I want to remind everyone watching that producing premium documentaries like this takes an incredible amount of hard work, continuous research, and complete dedication from our entire team here at NFL Focus. We do this for the love of the game and for this incredible community. If you want to support our work and help us keep growing, please take a second right now to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, share this video around, and leave a detailed comment down below. Every single subscription gives us the fuel and motivation to keep going. Niner faithful, the floor is officially yours. What should the front office do next? Should the team find a way to navigate Bryce Huff's situation, or is it time to completely turn the page? Is Demarcus Robinson worth keeping around as experienced depth, Or should that valuable cap space be instantly pivot back towards someone with real, recent production? And of course, the absolute biggest question on the table. Do you believe John Lynch ultimately pulls off a massive trade sending Aiyuk to Washington? Or does this entire saga end in a devastating release where the organization gets absolutely zero return for a former first-round superstar? Fire off with everything you have got in the comment section right now. Smash that subscribe button and hit like because this script is far from finished and we are going to be right here breaking down every single update. Let us go Niners!